This is Josiah Plays Tyranny. Okay, we're talking to Tarkasari, and this is what she has to say. The sons and daughters of Stalwart formed their own coalition called the Unbroken. Pretty sure we've read about the Unbroken already. The Unbroken Legion was the proud and accomplished army of the realm of Stalwart. Citing their victories as evidence of skill, they prided themselves on never facing defeat while fighting on home soil. After the Edict of Storms tore apart Stalwart and twisted it into the Blade Grave, barely a 20th of the Unbroken's former strength survived to continue the war against Kairos' forces. Okay. And they fought harder than anyone to push the forces of Kairos from their lands. We could do well to invite them into our collective, not to mention bring the fight to Graven Ash's doorstep. We could also find help in the ruins of Azure. It's not a pretty region, but you'll find no lack of courage there. That's where the Beastmen are. My rings are on the Stone Stalkers. I think we've already read about the Stone Stalkers. Yeah, we have. We've worked with Beastman tribes in the past. They may be savage, but they recognize strength and loyalty better than most humans. If you like the cut of their jib, you might track them down in the Stone Sea. The Stone Sea is the name given to what remains of the land of Azure after Kairos' Edict of Stone devastated the landscape. Once a rolling landscape of winding rivers and fertile plains, tectonic shifts have altered the landscape, choking rivers, collapsing roads, and altering the landscape for hundreds of leagues. That's your idea, Beastmen? Inviting a horde of flea-bitten savages into Ascension Hall is out of the question. We might as well open our doors to the Scarlet Chorus. I like the idea of recruiting the Beastmen. A fair point I'll take into consideration. Don't let yourself get bogged down by the whims of bygone tradition. When the time comes, you'll need all the help you can get. Besides, you wouldn't want Kairos' forces to conscript the Stone Stalkers before you had a chance to win them over. You have your pick of the strongest. The Unbroken of the Blade Grave, or the Stone Stalkers of the Stone Sea. The Stone Sea. Whoever you choose, better get them on our side soon. The Civil War has made Kairos' forces more aggressive to claim territory. None of these rebellions can endure without our coalition's help. Yeah, there's also the Burning Library to consider. You know, the remains of the Sages. So the Sages is a faction we could still try to recruit. The Stone Stalkers, the Unbroken. I feel like we should get both. I mean, they said hurry up and get the Stone Stalkers before they get recruited by the enemy, right? So watch, you go get the Stone Stalkers, because you know the Unbroken under no circumstances will ever get recruited by the enemy. They're fanatics. So they're never gonna stop rebelling against the enemy. So we can take our time with the Unbroken. We get the Stone Stalkers first, then get the Unbroken, and then go for the Sages. Why don't we do that? Don't tell me it's gonna only let me pick one. Why don't we try to... Why? Wow, I'm having a hard time talking today. I'm not doing well. Like there's mud in my mouth. Why don't we try to... For some reason I'm... Why don't we try to equip both? Why don't we try... Why don't... Am I fucking that... It sounds like I'm fucking it up every time I say it for some reason. Why don't we try to recruit both? Oh, we certainly should try. Assuming they're all willing to share the same tent, and assuming other powers don't get to them first. In time, we should seek to gather as many allies as we can. But you're our top representative and can't be in two places at once, so whom do you wish to approach first? What's with the burning library? Could we seek help there? We had a few sages join our cause. They fought with us, and died, during the siege. From what they told me, the burning library is abandoned, save for a few chorus gangs looting what's left of the place. The Burning Men are there, according to the book. We've already read about the burning library. I'm the one that read the Edict of Fire on that place, my bad. We might find a few stragglers in the ruins, but we need more than just a few volunteers. We need an army. I will send another pair of scouts to see if we can make contact with the sage's leadership, whatever's left of it. But for now, let's focus our efforts on known quantities. I mean, I've got 2 sages on top of my second spire chilling right there. Couldn't I just go ask them, hey, where are the other sages? How do I send a missive to the other sages? You know what I'm saying? But apparently not. What might the Stonestalkers add to our coalition? Raw strength, savage brutality, tenacity second only to the Brotherhood. The Stonestalkers aren't just any old tribe of hairy oafs. That tribe has thrived in a realm plagued by the Edict of Stone. We need that sort of fortitude on our side. In the year 430, Kairos declared the Edict of Stone on the traitorous Cairn, Archon of Stone. While ostensibly aimed at Cairn, the magic of the Edict rippled through all the realm of Azure, fracturing the earth with tectonic upheaval. Though Cairn is long since subdued, the Edict of Stone continues to slowly slift. What is wrong with me today? It's like I've never read anything aloud before. Continues to slowly shift the landscape, and this ever-changing region is now known as the Stone Sea. We need that sort of fortitude on our side. While in ages past, arming one's beastmen is often a sign of desperation, these are desperate times. I think the Stonestalkers may be a hard ally to win over, but they're the strongest tribe in the land right now. Better to have them as friends. What else should I know about the Blade Grave? The Blade Grave is the name given to what remains of the realm of Stalwart, after its ruination, when Kairos proclaimed the Edict of Storms upon the lands. The magical storms struck the disfavored and unbroken armies during the height of their engagement. Now most of what remains is a blighted landscape of discarded armor and weapons, and high winds of rust and human dust. People of Stalwart are independent types. There is little doubt that the war strengthened their sense of national pride, but it may have twisted it as well. We hear that the Unbroken have no love lost for the old rulers of Stalwart, the Regents. Take care if you enter the Blade Grave. They say the storms around Sentinel's Stand are powerful enough to strip flesh from bone. The Edict of Storms devastated the realm in the last year of the conquest, and rages on to this day. So now I really do have to pick. Well, I'm hoping I do get to go after both. I mean, I'm assuming I get to go to both areas of the world, because it would be lame if I didn't. I feel like I should go to Stonestalkers first, I suppose. I mean, I do have a Stonestalker. No, she's not a Stonestalker. But I do have a Beast Woman chilling on my spire as part of my team. So I'll bet it's a really good idea to take her with you when you're going to meet the Stonestalkers. And yet, I don't think I'm going to. Not this playthrough. I hope I get to go after both of them. This turns out to be a very important decision, if not. This is like Roche or Yorvith right here. But I don't think it is. I think I'll get to go to both. I choose the Stonestalkers. We need some I don't know. I think Seraphina would go for the... Do you really want more teat scratching in your base? You've got a good point there, Anonymous. I will seek the Unbroken. We need the strength of old Stalwart on our side. Excellent choice. I know the Unbroken are occupied by the Disfavored and the Edict of Storms. In the year 430 TR, Kairos proclaimed the Edict of Storms on the realm of Stalwart. Though largely defeated in battle, the leaders of Stalwart fell back to their nigh impenetrable fortress of Sentinel Stand and refused to meet the Disfavored in one last decisive battle. To punish this cowardice, Kairos' edict blanketed the peninsula with endless storms, giving the enemy a chance to hide in their castle and watch their lands wither. The blasted realm is now known as the Blade Grave. The terms of the edict specified that the storms would gust without mercy until the last member of the Regent bloodline, the rulers of Stalwart, met his or her death. Do the people know this is the terms of the edict? Because if that's known, I would think those motherfuckers would just ace those regents, like, oh, let's see, there's magical storms making our fucking homeland a post-apocalyptic hellscape. All we gotta kill is a few of these fucking regent assholes, and it will end. Marked for fucking death, those people are. But I assume that this is not widely known. But you might find them cooperative if you help sort out their problems. Welby, can we dispatch a force to clear out the enemy patrols guarding Sentinel Stand? Just to scatter them. That shouldn't be a problem. My boys will welcome the opportunity. She nods at you. By the time you arrive, hopefully we'll have cleared the path. The Disfavored beat the snot out of the Unbroken, but they never did claim Sentinel Stand keep. The last vestiges of the Regents, Stalwart's rulers, are probably still hiding in their fortress. You also might have some luck prowling the wilds of the Blade Grave for unbroken partisans, but I imagine they're a dying breed these days. I can't imagine how they live being chased by the Disfavored and plagued by the Edict of Storms. Quest completed. After defeating the mad leader of the Bronze Brotherhood, Raytamon, you decided you would give them a second chance and decided to recruit the Bronze Brotherhood into your alliance. You have chosen to seek out the aid of the Unbroken, one of the best fighting forces in the tiers. Make contact with the rebels and do whatever is necessary to gain their trust and loyalty. Investigate Sentinel Stand Keep. Travel to the site of the Unbroken's last major battle and see if there is a way to enter the Unbroken Fortress and speak with any surviving regents. Find a way to the Ocean Spire in the Blade Grave. There is a spire located in the Blade Grave region. This much is known. However, due to Kairos' edict, navigating there might be near impossible without knowing the way. You should travel to the Blade Grave and determine a safe path to the spire. Perhaps Fatebinder other than Seraphina don't blab terms of edicts to everyone they meet. Yeah. That makes sense. Makes sense. Ascension Hall. It'll be a rough road ahead, but the Bronze Brotherhood is up for the challenge. You can count on that. Ari nods in your direction. If you have any questions for me, feel free to voice them now. Alright, so it looks like I can go to the Blade Grave now. I don't know why they didn't just do a thing where they're like, go to the Stone Sea and get the other guys, and go to the Blade Grave and get them, and just unlock both and let me just go in my own recognizance. But I guess they don't want you to do that. There's the spire. The ocean spire, allegedly. A lot of little islands over here. Iron Hearth. Inaccessible. Sentinel Stand. This battered fortress is the historic home of Stalwart's ruling families, the Regents. Protected by two massive walls, it was never taken during the conquest. Frustrated with the siege, Kairos issued an edict that severely damaged the castle and left it encased within a massive perpetual tornado. Well, that sounds legit. Alright. Alright. Unfortunately, she did not level up, which is irritating, because she's about to level. And then I need to come back here and train some dodge. I love my banners. Alright. Let's go... Let's just go, I guess. There's nothing else to do here. Let's just go. 2 days, 20 hours. Long journey to Sentinel Stand. How is this location unreachable if we're literally about to walk right past that place? Ooh, now that's a cool loading screen. Those jagged spires, those fingers of rock are really cool looking. Received a missive from Fatebinder Rogalis. Wow, we're just having a whole correspondence. He wrote me, I wrote back, I can write back again? Alright, what did I say to him? Oh yeah, I asked him questions. How about you tell me what you know first? Dear Seraphina, your tone seems so cold, distant, and distrustful. It's almost like you've been paying attention all these years. Yes, I knew I learned about the wording of the edict. And while I did not advocate that you be sent, I did not disagree. Like it or not, you are young, fit, and entirely self-sufficient. You should be flattered to be trusted for the honor of proclamation. I'm asking about your experience because it's not every day that someone breaks an edict, let alone awaken a spire. If I had some insight into your experience, perhaps I could shed light on what happened, or get you in touch with someone who could. Fatebinder Rogalis. Yeah, it would be better if you just accumulated 5 training points each level, pooling them. That would be much better. Not taking Barry with me to his canning factory. No. This is where he was put in the can. I can explain the experience as best I can. I already read this. Or send a polite refusal. Dear Rogalis, you seem to think I've learned nothing from my time in court. Whatever I tell you will just be used against me later. You will have to settle for the written equivalent of a blank stare, Seraphina. No, I don't want to send that. I'll explain the experience. Send it. New items. New items. Oh, look, the research progress is going well now. Great. So shit is all trashed. Spires, blades of rock, broken walls.
Brought to their knees in the most brutal way possible. The ultimate fate of any who would defy Kairos.
Yeah. Kairos is a real dick. I got a fish. And before Neverwinter Nights 2 style court sequence. Oh, I liked that part in Neverwinter Nights 2. I thought it was cool. Okay, hold on. Let's come over this way real quick. I like this blowing dust stuff. It makes it seem pretty grim. Hide Skycap. Marshberry. The moat that once encircled Sentinel Stand has long since succumbed to the harsh environment. Standing water and patches of moist dirt are all that remain. Got some nice heavy cloth sandals. Let's talk about these sandals. Well, they're better than what I'm wearing, except they don't give me plus 10 to subterfuge like what I'm wearing, so no. Nope. 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 Slightly varied shades of brown. It's like we're back in Torment again. Torment. How I loved you. Jasper. Sentinel Stand Keep was once a proud, imposing structure. Now it stands as a mere shadow of its former glory. Oh, I thought I could go another... I thought there was a... I thought there was a main way in through here, but obviously I was wrong. Okay, gotta go back the way I came. I did play the early access, the backer beta for Numenera a long time ago, like back when it first came out, before they made it. I mean, I know they've patched it a whole bunch and made a lot of changes to it. I haven't played, like, the new version of it, and I don't plan to. I don't want to spoil anything else for myself. So, yeah, I played it way back when it first came out. Which, by the time the game itself comes out, I will have fucking forgotten everything from that anyway. Lots of spears. Spears for fears. Man, this place is looking post-apoc as a motherfucker. Pretty cool, actually. Remarkable. Would you look at those shifting winds? It's almost hypnotic. No one throws a tantrum like the Overlord. In spite of her remarks, Siren wears a look of grim introspection. Verse holds her ground, the storm whipping through her hair. I wonder if I could ride that storm. What do you say we find a barrel, seal it up with me inside, and see what happens out there? A moment later she sighs. Maybe not. You step forward, but the winds repel you like a physical wall of force around the tornado's edge. The area ahead is impassable. Hear that? We're not alone. Taking a step forward, Verse draws her weapon and scans the surroundings. You catch an odd sound in the wind. A low moan, hidden within a cacophony of swirling dirt and metal debris. The clouds of dust seem to close in upon you. Within them, you see patches of glowing red. Oh shit. Well, this is rude. Scourges. And wisps. And scourges. And wisps. Alright. Ladies that aren't Verse, back your asses up. Verse. Okay, she's got to do some serious taunting now. Taunt that one. We're gonna stasis this one. Actually, talk to me about my stasis shit. We're gonna stasis these two over here. If we can. He's gonna stasis that one. Verse. He's just gonna attack here. Siren. Pain of Night.
That can't be done.
Ah, Verse is done. Get this one.
Not a problem.
Auto paused. Ebb. Unravel Minds. Hit Scourged. This fucker. Stasis. This fucker doesn't seem to be stasis. Alright, that auto pause is obnoxious. That needs to go. You were expecting Siren to say, I don't like sand, it's coarse and rough and irritating and it gets everywhere. Why didn't this one get stasis? False pit misses. Okay. That's good. Alright. This one is stasis, so we should be able to move away from it. Verse is kind of getting wrecked. She needs to buff herself with Spectral Blur. Siren, you should be able to kind of move away. Actually... delay that if you're still doing Aria of Confusion. That one's stasis.
Not a problem, boss.
These three. Come over here. No. Come over here. First, kill your thing. This one was stasis. Wait a minute. It's still stasis. How did it do a bunch of... what kind of shady shit was that? Alright. Taunt. Apparently stasis doesn't... they don't make stasis like they used to. This is a wisp, which is immune to electricity. Edict of Storms. The winds of Kairos' edict fill the air with thick clouds of rust from the decaying weapons and armor that litter the ground. No natural wind, it hampers your every movement. 20% minus range damage, 10%, 10 minus accuracy, 10% perception distance. Okay. I need Vital Body on her right now.
That's a negative.
Is this one taunted? It is. Good. We don't have to worry about it for a minute.
Y'all out by your ass.
I don't know what happened to her Spectral Blur. I thought she was casting that.
Count. Anyone else want some of this?
Alright, we're kicking ass now. is that a quote from? It sounds really like a familiar quote. The Bane are gone, their unnatural cries silenced, leaving only the tornado's violence in your ears. As the dust clouds recede, you spot a crouched figure on the wall above.
We've got a scout. Look there, on top of the wall.
Speak with the Unbroken Scout. An Unbroken Scout observed your fight with the Bane at Sentinel Stand. He may know something useful about entering the keep. The wind whips violently past, throwing bits of rock and metal past you, along with the dust. Bits of rock and metal, huh? That's so metal. Oh. Oh, it's from Star Wars. The prequel trilogy. No wonder I didn't remember it. I must have blocked out the memory. Finally, she gets a new shield. She's been using this shield the entire game. This is Barrick's shield. Barrick's starting shield, and she's been using it. Finally, she can upgrade to something else. Something very green looking. Ardent Bronze Sword. Hmm. $163 though. So we got Janos here. A soldier kneels behind the ruined parapets. You can tell by his raiment, old stalwart gear, that he's an unbroken soldier. He peers at you with a mixture of caution and curiosity, so I have no rep with the unbroken either way. You handle the Bane well enough, but what brings you to this forsaken place? He pauses as recognition dawns in his eyes. You're the Fatebinder of Tunan, are you not? Pretty far removed from your perch in Vindrian's Well. What brings you to Sentinel Stand? He glances to the left and right. Not the weather, I think. I've always wondered if the air was cleaner atop the spires. I take it you're getting awfully familiar with them, if the word I hear from Lethian's Crossing is any indication. I'm gathering a coalition to stand against Kairos, and I seek to recruit the Unbroken. You're in the right place, but the only Unbroken who gather here are the unlucky scouts like myself, who look at the wind wall and wait for something to change. He nods over to the tornado. I could help you end Kairos' Edict of Storms. The scout raises his brow. That's not a claim I hear often from servants of the Overlord. Of course, if you think you can end the edict, you'll have to make your way inside Sentinel Stand to do it. He nods in the general direction of the swirling winds. Kairos' anger has been raging without pause for the last year. It's bad enough that no one can enter or leave the inner keep. The keep had enough provisions to fatten a garrison for the next century, not to mention feed those disfavored prisoners. It stands to reason that Stalwart's last regent is still alive in there. Janos squints at the distant tornado and shakes his head. He is not the source of our problem, but he's at the center of it. Why are you here? I drew the short straw. He chuckles and shakes his head. The Unbroken make a habit of patrolling the outer fortress in case the storm breaks or someone happens to emerge from the keep. If we could find a way to cross the wind wall, we could take back Sentinel Stand and defend our country from a position of power. In any case, nothing ever comes of our patrols. Something of a fool's errand, if you ask me. I'd be surprised if the storms calmed in my lifetime. No one holds a grudge like Kairos. You didn't help us with the Bane. True enough. You do well to remember that I'm a scout, and good scouts stay out of unnecessary fights. He sniffs. Except those with questionable allies. Especially those with questionable allies. No offense intended. None taken. Verse finishes picking her teeth with a dagger and wipes it clean. That's fine. We tend not to do battle with impotent cowards allergic to glory. Oh, but no offense or anything. Sniveling ass mite. Offense definitely taken, worm. As if someone of my station would be seen cavorting with you. What do the Unbroken want? Sentinel Stand used to be a seat of pride for the Regents of Stalwart. These days it's a wind-blasted ruin, but it could be made an unassailable fortress for the Unbroken, if we could just dispel these storms. He fingers the edge of a blade with longing. Kairos envisions us groveling in supplication, slowly eroding our culture like details carved in stone. We will not accept the meek vision of Stalwart. If I am to die, it will happen upon the battlefield, defending our nation's future. Why is the last regent important? His friendly expression sours. I already know the answer to this, because we talked about it before. The regents carried the bloodline of old Stalwart's ruling family. That link, any connection to the past really, carries a lot of weight. He sniffs. Maybe even too much. To make matters worse, the bloodline is tied to Kairos' edict. As long as they live, the storms will continue to tear apart our country. And the last of the regents, he points off toward the obscurity of the storm wall, is trapped in there. I see your point. Stratus Herodin, the last regent, is hiding behind Kairos' wind wall, pretending he still rules Stalwart that was. First chance I get, I'm plunging my blade into his heart and ending his edict for good. Stalwart has suffered enough. What was that about disfavored prisoners? Before the Edict of Storms hit us last year, a Stalwart patrol captured a company of disfavored. I know at least some of the prisoners made it to Sentinel Stand. No one's been in contact with the keep since the edict hit, but I have it on good authority that one of the prisoners was the daughter of Graven Ash. That's a pretty important prisoner. I'm no military strategist, but it doesn't take one to know that the Archon of War holds his troops in high esteem. The regent trapped in Sentinel Stand wouldn't execute one without trying to barter a deal. So there's at least a chance that the prisoners are still alive, don't you think? Say the Unbroken get through the storms. How do they expect to breach the keep's walls? It's no small challenge, true, but we've had a year to make preparations. He chuckles. Our alchemists cobbled together a nasty and unstable powder that explodes when thrown in quantity. Stalwart Justice, I call it, though the name hasn't stuck. We've enough stockpile to blow a hole in the old walls if we set our minds to it. Alright, how can I get inside Sentinel Stand? He laughs to himself, and flurries of dust cascade from his shoulders. If I had an answer for you, would I be standing here choking on rust? Some of us think there's a way. If you truly call yourself a friend of the Unbroken, then make your way to Duskwatch Keep, and speak with Captain Agathon. I think you're just the woman he's been looking for. Imagine the awkwardness between Graven Ash and his daughter's boyfriend. I know, right? The area around Duskwatch is crawling with Graven Ash's ironclad, so tread lightly. If you can help Agathon dispatch them, all the better. Here's to hoping our paths cross again. Also, we're going to be fighting some disfavored. Janos turns and drops over the battlement's edge, disappearing into the storm. Battered but unbroken, meet with Agathon at Duskwatch. Janos has offered you an introduction to Captain Agathon, acting commander of the Duskwatch Fort. Travel there and speak with him, and make your case for an alliance. Yeah, we'll get right on that right after we do some really important looting. Looting, looting. It's what you do when you want loot. Looting, looting. I'm gonna get that loot. It's a healing pot. A healing potion. Looting, looting. It's what you do when you want that loot. Looting. On the bright side, Graven Ash protects. Yeah. Alright, well, I guess we're done here. The Rust Storm. The Storm of Rust. How do I get up on there? The answer seems to be, I don't. Sentinel Stand. Cool looking place. It's had problems. It's had its problems. She still hasn't leveled up. What the shit? Judge's Day. 3 span of conquest. Alright, now I can go to Duskwatch Fort. Duskwatch was one of several forts hastily constructed by the Unbroken in response to Kairos' conquest of the Tears. Due to its position near Stalwart's coasts, it escaped destruction from Kairos' magical storms. It is now one of the few remaining rebel outposts in Stalwart. Yeah, after I stop the storm, yeah, that could be possible. I could get there. The Blade Grave. I'm sure Barrick would have such fine memories of this place. Remember the good old days, Barrick, when you didn't smell like shit all the time? Remember those days? Those were good times. What do we have up here? Oh, that guy's disfavored.
I will stay out of sight.
I have a feeling he's green though, so we're gonna have like mandatory conversation here. What's he doing? Waiting for us to come talk to him, I guess. Oh no, it's just my luck that I would run afoul of Tunon's Fatebinder. He puts 2 fingers to his lips and readies to whistle, but thinks better of it. Say, friend? Why not just let me go? These are tough times, and mercy is more valuable than gold. Fatebinder. He clears his throat. Something I can do for you? Well, I can straight up kill him. I can let him go. Tell me what the disfavored are doing here, and I might spare you. Ash ordered us to take the fort. Commander Osmios also says there's a northern prisoner behind those walls. He swallows nervously, his attention darting from you to the palisade. That's all I know. I mostly focus on my orders, like a good sentry. Everything you know about Duskwatch, now. Throughout the war, the Unbroken kept this fort locked up against Kairos' forces. It might not be much to look at, but the folks behind those walls are a spirited bunch. Not even the storm has broken their nerve. I know what the commander would say, that a southerner is too ignorant to wipe the grit from his eyes. But the Unbroken have been using the storm against us, and, well, you have to respect that. Go on and get out here. I'm tired of your face. Thank you. Never meant to get in the way of the law. The young sentry stumbles on his feet as he departs in haste. This favored still hate the shit out of me.
I will stay out of sight.
Here we are at Duskwatch Fort. Probably don't need to be stealthed right now. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum.
You see that?
Found some hidden shit. Found some hidden shit. Ooh, ooh, special named purple bow. Now we're talking. That was a nice cache of hidden shit and some nice potions. Okay, hold them up. Path of Roses. The limbs of this bow originate from a thorny bramble wielded only by the brave. Path of Roses was conceived by an alchemist who wanted to explore the effectiveness of the local flora on wartime applications. The deadly products of her strange experiments and forays into smithing can be found anywhere that has been graced by conflict. It poisons on crit. So, it's almost exactly the same as our current bow, but with a little bit less range. But it poisons on crit, so we're going to use that. Now her dagger and her bow both poison on crit. Nobody else really uses a bow or anything, so we'll put that into the stash. You just betrayed them and killed their champion. Doesn't like bad-mouthing Vera make up for that. Benjamin Guard Bronze Dagger. You know, I've noticed something. Compared to Pillars of Eternity, and for that matter, compared to Baldur's Gate, the Baldur's Gate games and the Icewind Dale games, this game is really combat light. There just aren't that many fights so far in the whole game compared to the amount of just area exploration and dialogue. It's very combat light. Even usually when you do have to fight in an area, there'll be like 2 or 3 fights and that's it. For like the whole... I'm okay with that. I'm just surprised. Because, I mean, Pillars of Eternity was full of all kinds of bullshit, like, irrelevant stuff you had to kill everywhere you went. Which also was fine, but it's just a different style of game. I mean, this one has a lot of writing, and not nearly as much fighting. Like, even the old walls, which were the proper dungeon, had a surprisingly small amount of actual Bane that you had to kill. Given the, you know, the size of the areas or whatever. I'm looking in your fort. I'm looking in your fort. I'm looking for hidden stuff. How come there's no guards here? Oh, there are. They're just not outside the gates. Made a lot of questionable choices just for fan service? What do you mean fan service? Oh, to please fans of the old Infinity Engine games, you mean? Yeah, well, they kind of had to, because that was what the Kickstarter, you know what I'm saying? That's what they promised with the Kickstarter, so they really had no choice, but I see what you mean. A broad-shouldered, unbroken captain stops just short of the opened gate. He looks you over with an uncertain frown. The Fatebinder of Tunon, correct? Even in Duskwatch we hear tale of a court agent who defies Kairos' forces. He glances over your shoulder. But one can never be too careful these days. Captain Agathon of the Unbroken. Duskwatch Fort is under my protection. In spite of Graven Ash's best efforts, we stand with our dignity intact. You look as if you have something on your mind, and I take it that the court emissary doesn't come peddling mead. Say something special if I'm a pit fighter. What am I going to say to Captain Agathon? I don't know. We'll have to find out in our next episode. If you're watching the stream, I'm not done playing, but if you are watching on YouTube, that is the end of this episode. Come back next time. We'll continue the talk with Captain Agathon. Thank you for watching. This has been Josiah Plays Tyranny.